5 years before the morning Preston died, 5 Junes earlier, 1,000 miles to the east, in a parking lot in northern Indiana, another doctor was killed for the same reason. He was the first. His name was Todd Graham. He had said no. Todd Austin Graham was born on October 30, 1960 in Athens, Illinois, a town small enough that a boy could grow up knowing every face in it. He went to the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana, then Northwestern University School of Medicine, class of 1986. He did his internship at Swedish Covenant Hospital in Chicago and his residency in physical medicine and rehabilitation at what was then the Rehabilitation Institute of Chicago, where he was named chief resident in his final year. He was a physiatrist, a rehab doctor, double board certified in physical medicine and pain medicine, which means, and you should hear this clearly because it matters for the story, Todd Graham was not the surgeon at the orthopedics office. He was the pain specialist. When patients came in hurting and the surgery wasn't the answer, they came to him. So the man who got killed for not prescribing opioids was not somebody refusing to do his job. He was the pain doctor. He had spent 30 years learning every other way to treat pain. He had built his career on knowing what worked when the pills didn't. He came to South Bend after his residency and stayed 30 years. He ran his own practice as a solo physician for 22 of them before joining South Bend Orthopedics as a partner. He sat on the executive committee. He was a consulting physician for the Notre Dame athletics program, kept the football players walking. Patients called him Dr. Todd, not Dr. Graham. Dr. Todd. That tells you something about the kind of doctor he was. He had a wife, Julie. Best friend, the obituary called her. 3 children, Travis, Elena, and Jacqueline. He loved St. Bartholomew. His son Travis became a doctor too, cited his father as the reason. There is now a Todd Graham Research Fellowship at South Bend Orthopedics. The appointment had been on the calendar for weeks. Petra Jarvis, chronic pain. Her husband, Michael, had come with her. He worked part-time at Notre Dame, parking attendant, on-call groundskeeper. Part of the same campus where Dr. Graham consulted. In another version of this story, that would be the kind of coincidence that brought 2 men together as neighbors. In this version, it was the kind that brought them together as killer and dead. Dr. Graham did what a pain specialist in 2017 was trained to do. He listened, he examined her, and he told her, gently and directly, that opioids were not the right treatment for her chronic pain. He had 30 years of experience telling him so. He also had the entire weight of the Centers for Disease Control's 2016 prescribing guidelines telling him so. He told her there were other ways. Mrs. Jarvis, by every account, understood. Her husband did not understand. Her husband was, as the prosecutor put it, insistent. At some point in the argument, Dr. Graham pulled out his phone and started recording audio. Not because he thought he was about to die, because he knew this conversation could come back at him in a complaint. Michael Jarvis left the appointment with his wife. For the next 2 hours, he was alone, and what he did with that time was decide. Police would later find that he came back with a semi-automatic handgun. Just before 1 in the afternoon, Dr. Graham was walking across the parking lot. He had walked it every day for years. Michael Jarvis was waiting. They argued. We do not know exactly what was said. We know that there were 2 witnesses outside watching, and we know that Michael Jarvis told them to leave. He did not want the people walking through that parking lot to die. He wanted Dr. Todd Graham to die. That distinction is what the prosecutor would later call a person who made a choice. 2 shots. To the head. Dr. Todd Graham was 56 years old. Michael Jarvis drove from the parking lot to the house of a friend. He told the friend he was not going to be around anymore. Before the officers got there, Jarvis killed himself. He did what we ask our doctors to do. Don't over-prescribe opioids. Doctors should never get shot. I want to tell you what it was like to read about Todd Graham from 1,000 miles away. I did not know him, but I knew his profession the way you know your own family. Every pain doctor in America in the summer of 2017 read the same headline and felt the same thing, which was, that could have been any one of us, and the next time, it will be. 2 years later, the American Academy of Pain Medicine surveyed its members. Roughly half had been threatened specifically over opioid management. Almost 1 in 10 had actually been physically attacked. The prosecutor said this was not the fallout of any opioid epidemic. He said it was a person who made a choice. I understand that, but he was also incomplete. The choice Michael Jarvis made was not made in a vacuum. The CDC guidelines were not wrong. They were the floor under which no responsible doctor could practice anymore. But here is what the CDC did not write, what no insurer was required to cover. The alternatives. The things that were supposed to fill the gap left by the opioids. Physical therapy at the duration that actually works. Behavioral pain management. Interventional procedures like nerve blocks. All of these things existed in 2017. None of them was reliably available to a working-class woman in northern Indiana whose insurance covered a single pain consultation and not much else. So Dr. Graham did what he was supposed to do. And in the space between his refusal and the alternatives that should have been waiting for her, in that gap, which is the size of an entire missing wing of American healthcare, her husband went home and came back and shot him. Dr. Graham left behind his wife Julie and his 3 children. Travis became a physician. He has said publicly that his father is why. And then there was a Tulsa surgeon named Preston Phillips, and the same story happened again. Different state, different specialty, same gap, same gun. If you watched episode 1, you already know the questions to ask your state representative. I am going to ask you to ask one more. In your state, what is the funded alternative? What can that doctor refer her to that she can actually afford and actually reach? If the honest answer is not much, then your state is still writing the same half of the law that killed Todd Graham. His name was Todd Graham. He was a pain doctor for 30 years. He did what we ask our doctors to do, and then he died for it. Together, we can change this.